Hi everyone, happy Easter. Hope you're having a good time and you're getting all these lovely Easter eggs or whatever presents you may get on today's day. I'm going to do a slightly different video today. So I normally do about personal development, but this one's kind of a very more personal interest and integrating what I've learned from my interests into, I suppose, my career life. So the topic today is going to be what I've learned from engineering programs for project management. So for me, I am obsessed with history, particularly World War II history. The reason being is I love the whole innovation. It's always iterative. There's so many lessons learned from humanity as well in terms of how to treat people, particularly now relevant to nowadays. And I like the fact that it's just, there's so many, I suppose, inventions or learnings from the past that can be relevant to now. And this is kind of what I enjoy, I suppose, particularly during the pandemic. I realised actually this is where I love and it's kind of my interest. So in my spare time, I do watch a lot of history programs. And as I said, more the engineering side as well. So I watch a program in the UK, or actually a channel in the UK called Yesterday, and there's several programs in there that I enjoy watching, and I can give you a quick reel of what they are. So Web or Weird, War Factories, Abandoned Engineering, Impossible Engineering. These are the sort of programs I like watching. It's fascinating to see how past innovations have I suppose, shaped today's modern world in quick facts and figures in terms of understanding the lessons learned from that type of history and how it's changed and not changed since. However, as the title of the video suggests, it's more to do with the engineering side of things. So the two programs I want to highlight within this blog post is Abandoned Engineering, which is a program literally nobody can stop me watching, and Impossible Engineering. These are two programs where I feel like I get the most inspiration from, particularly moving over from marketing to a product management / user experience role within the next couple of weeks actually now, which is exciting. So I kind of want to emphasise the learnings that I've learned from these programs and what I want to implement within the product management side of things. So I'll just give you a bit background between what Abandoned Engineering is and also Impossible Engineering. So Abandoned Engineering is my favourite program at the moment. It's a program where they have about 4 or 5 different old engineering projects or buildings all around the world, and as the title suggests, they've been abandoned. But they try and figure out the reasons why they've been abandoned. Some of them are completely wrecked now, some of them are still intact. And they have perspectives from different types of people. So they have engineers, they have historians, they have geologists. And it kind of, I love that perspective where you get different types of perspectives from what's happened within that situation and how it's come about. So some places are just abandoned and used as tourist sites now, and some of them are looking to be reused, which is fantastic. The other program is called Impossible Engineering, which involves one massive engineering project. So, for example, they had about the Kingda Ka, I think I pronounced that right, roller coaster in America, which is the tallest in the world. They were saying how that actually got built. So when you look at engineering projects, it's just not just one thing where it's like, okay, then we need these materials, we need this, this, and this. Because it's such a complex project, there needs to be inspiration from other, I suppose, sources. So, for example, when you're in the car, how is it going to push you up onto the ramp? Or it takes all those little chunks and understands what kind of engineering complications there may be and what possible solutions can look for it. And normally these come from past innovators, either within the same field. So they had about Tivoli Gardens for the roller coaster, but then they also had about looking at the G-force in military aircraft in the US. So it kind of takes perspective. It's really interesting the fact that one project is complicated, but it can be less complicated from looking at innovations from the past, as the quote says actually from the TV program. So yeah, I just find these programs interesting. I remember when I was younger, my dad used to sit me and my brother down and actually go through this sort of situation where because he was an engineer by trade, he used to break down more complicated I suppose, engineering projects for us to understand a bit more about. So, for example, we go about fuel filtration systems, how they're built, or looking at more just general engineering projects. And he would sit us down, explain to us, even though we were probably about 8 or 9, probably 10 or 11 at the time, we're like, yep, it's fine. You sort of actually appreciate it now in terms of, actually, this is a core interest, and I kind of enjoy liking, and things are broken down in small chunks. So, yeah, anyway, I'm going to go back onto the core subject of the area. So, for me, I kind of want to go through about 5 core lessons that I've learned from these sort of programs for product management, and kind of items that I want to take on board for future lessons. So, number 1, no project is a failure. So I think I'm getting this inspiration from the fact that I might be doing a user research project or doing a small change for a product, and actually it doesn't go to fruition. Now, abandoned engineering emphasises the fact that there is, when something is built, it may be just a small thing, it might be, or for a particular time purpose. So, for example, pillboxes in World War II, or it might be a massive, I suppose, abandoned Seville 1992 World Trade Fair. Examples, nothing, each thing has a purpose at one particular point, and at that point it's a success, but it might not be a success in the future. And you've got to remember, one point and it's one product, and it might be a success, it might be a failure going forward, but it still had an impact at one point on somebody's life, good way or bad. That's the first one. Number 2 is remember to always look for inspiration from others when you're looking for a problem. So for myself, for marketing, it's not something I do look for inspiration within the industry. So for me, it's predominantly been travel, and I've always looked for inspiration what's happened within the actual industry itself. But going forward, definitely product management and key problems that I may face, it's something, an area I need to go outside of. And this is the key emphasis that Impossible Engineering emphasises on. You need to look at inspiration from the past, look at what happens in past examples of this, what have they learned from it, or what kind of innovations that people brought about that you can introduce into your own product. Remember that, because otherwise you're going to build a product that's just the same old competitors. And if you want to differentiate, just look at inspiration from what others have looked to do in the past and what their struggles are, so you can empathise with that situation. Number 3 is always remember, there's always, so number 3, so I try to remember what it's called now, is always emphasise the people aspect. So what impacts can have on people? So for me, going in product management, I need to make sure that I create a positive impact within the changes I make through the user research, and also from what I help to build with engineers and the product, to build a better product for them. Now, when you go through Impossible Engineering, it's about looking at building a product that's suitable for a vast amount of people. But with abandoned engineering, it's interesting to see how products have been built for people in a positive and negative way. So, for example, the gulags that were built at that particular time after World War II, they were abandoned because the usage isn't used anymore, but it creates memories. And that's what you've got to realise when you're building products and services. There needs to be an emphasis on creating that memory going forward. So I think that's all I'm going to do. I did say 5, but I've forgotten the other 2, so it's going to be about 3 emphasised points that I've made for what I've learned from engineering programs to product management. Hopefully I've given you insights in terms of, I suppose, what programs actually can bring for lessons within your career. And also, I suppose me, it's always a key learning curve, history. And I kind of wish there was more emphasised that people, particularly business, should look in the past and actually think, where can I go next with products and services? Let's look at history and what we can develop more. So hopefully I've given you some insights into that, and have a great Easter. Ciao for now.